Yo, Community Chronicles Radio. There we are. We're on there now. Now brought to you weekly by Gannon University's Erie Technology Incubator in partnership with the Corey Higher Education Council. The Erie Technology Incubator, located at 900 State Street, works in the entrepreneurial ecosystem and provides technical assistance through each step of the entrepreneurial process. This show features members of this ecosystem and other entrepreneurs in the Erie area. Welcome to Community Chronicles Radio. If you have a question for us or any of our guests, give us a call here, 814-679-1080. I am Dr. Matthew Plotz, and with me today, as always, is our amazing co-host, Steph Scroose. Good morning, Steph.
Good morning, Matt. How's it going?
It's going well. How about this week? We had a lot going on at the Corey High Ed, 21st Century Girls. Can you talk a little bit about that and what the girls did this week?
Yeah, they had a great time. We had them, it was a busy place at the High Ed this week. They would start off coming in and getting ready for going on all their field trips. We got a lot of great pictures. They went to Zajac Farms. They went to the Gannon Cyber Camp. They went to Asbury Woods, also the Penn State Barron STEM and Planetarium. They also toured our local manufacturing shops, and they did a lot of great things. I mean, they even beat the heat. Well, they had a they had to keep hydrated this week as well, especially outside for Asbury Woods. But it looks like that they had a great time, and the girls did a great job. And like I said, I'll probably be working on a video presentation of all the pictures we got coming up, and be posting that to our new YouTube channel and putting some posts on Facebook as well. So
That's
yep,
great.
The girls had a great time.
To give the listeners a little background, the Corey Higher Ed provides an opportunity for middle school girls in the Corey area school district to attend a camp in the STEM field. So it teaches the young ladies about different careers in the STEM field where there is still some underrepresentation from females. So it's a good thing. We enjoy it every year. It takes a lot out of our staff, but we get through it, and it's a great thing. So, Steph, I am thrilled about today's show as we welcome our new sponsor, Gannon University's Erie Technology Incubator. This sponsorship will allow us to interview some of their board members in the incubator and also some local entrepreneurs. I also have a special surprise that I will be saving for the end of the show, which I will have to run out to my car to get during the news break.
Wow.
This is starting like a Monday instead of a Friday. If you're listening, you will not want to miss the end of the show. It's a good one. Our first guest today is Thomas Laird, board member of the Erie Technology Incubator and founder and CEO of Expivia Marketing Group. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Matt, it's good to be here, buddy. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yes, welcome, Tom.
So you two,
Can you tell us?
yeah, go ahead, Steph.
I'm out here in the other
Right, sorry.
No, we'll start off by, how about you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm an Erieite, born and raised, prep grad. About, 2011, we started Expivia, which is currently in EBCO Park. We have about 350 employees there. We work for lots of different brands, helping with their customer support. So anything from voice, email, chat, SMS, digital, working now and getting into the AI space. Also, we have another startup as well, which is an AI startup called Auto QA, which we're looking to fully automate contact center quality assurance with AI. So, working through that, and then, getting the calls from Brad Gleason at ETI to say, hey, why don't you come on board here, and literally became a board member a couple years ago, and really got into that community as well. So it's been fun to be an entrepreneur in Erie, and then also be able to hopefully give back to the entrepreneurs that are coming up through the ranks.
So what is your role as, can you talk a little bit about your role as the Erie Technology Incubator board member?
Yeah, it's been a blast. I think I've learned probably more than I've given. I'm on which I think is a really cool kind of sub-board position. Is in the intake committee, right? So we're looking at the companies that think that they're ready to come into the incubator, right? To get the services that they think they need to take their business to that next step, which has been a lot of fun. But I think just really interacting with a lot of the newer startups, this is a story that needs to be told more. And I think that's why we wanted to kind of come here and come on avenues like this to kind of tell the story of ETI and what has been happening and what we're trying to do for the community.
So what do you see as your biggest challenge of the incubator?
I think really it's to tell the story, right? So many people either, one, have not heard of us, or they think it's for Gannon students. I get that a lot, right? But really there's an ecosystem that has been built with ETI that, I'm sure there's somebody out there right now with an idea that they wrote on the back of the napkin, right? So anyone from that early stage to come into ETI, to come into the Gannon SBDC, right, to develop that business plan, to get those first little bits of help to kind of push them to where they need to be, and then move it all the way to maybe they need some help through the Beehive. I know the Beehive has been spoken a lot about here with the other colleges and universities, all supporting kind of this entrepreneurial spirit. And then, even moving to become an actual paying member of ETI, right, where you're taking office space, where you're getting these services and mentorship as much as you want or don't want, to really help support this thing as we push along and try to get more entrepreneurs and more businesses and small businesses into the community and out of the incubator, because that's really the end goal.
I know myself, I had never heard of anything like the incubator or anything of Erie Technology. So, starting at the Hyatt, and doing this show, I've learned a lot as we've been going along. So it's been really interesting.
Steph, I'm sorry, not to interrupt, but I think, that's a really good point. There's been so many different, I guess, organizations that have tried to do things like this, right? And things got really confusing, right? And we've seen that with so many things that Erie has tried to do from a small business or from an economic development standpoint. And so it's really cool, I think, that we've kind of coalesced now around ETI, and we've become kind of one of the main cogs for this entrepreneurship path that companies can go on to get the support that they need.
Definitely. Now, were you a client of the incubator when you started thinking about is it Expedia?
Expedia, yeah, Expedia.
Expedia, okay, yes, Expedia. I want to say that right.
I never heard of it, I'll be honest, in 2010, 2011. And to be honest, since I really think in the last couple of years when Kathy Roach and Brad Gleason have really come on board to really take this to a different level, I wish I would have known about it. I think it definitely would have saved me some of the headaches that we went through starting out. But we're actually and I'm going to meet with them today about possibly getting some space for our AI startup to kind of get it down there into that community. So again, I know a lot of the board members use a lot of the tools and things that are available to us down at ETI. So yeah, I wish I would have known about it, Steph. I really do.
Can you tell us a little bit about Expedia?
Yeah, so this has been a really interesting time in the contact center space, and I think everybody kind of rolls their eyes when they hear call center or contact center, but we've been really leading the new age of AI. So we've kind of turned in from an outsourcer, right? So somebody who kind of just needs some bodies, right? That's really high on technology, and we flipped that around to be really a CX technology partner first, and offering that outsourcing piece last. So about half of our organizations that work with us are in some type of AI capacity, whether that's a front end chatbot looking at deep down into the agent level with some of these things like agent assist, where AI is actually helping the agent as they're going along the call and kind of prompting them to do certain things, to kind of what we're doing with over the last year. And this has really taken off. We were just coming out of beta. We have about 26 paying customers and about another 30 customers that are in a proof of concept, to where we're using AI to fully automate contact center quality assurance. So a lot of times you have a human being that's literally listening to contact center calls and scoring for quality, right? Did the agent read the proper greeting? Did they control the call 5 points, 10 points? So a lot of times, that's a heavy expense for a lot of contact centers. So, to be able to use AI to fully automate that, it's really getting out to very large organizations as well. And then to have those humans be able to do other things, right? Scoring calls, oh my gosh, it can be brutal, right? So they can go coach, they can go, help and supervise and do those things that humans do really, really well.
It's so weird when you talk about humans versus AI.
I
Feel like
know.
we're getting
I know.
it's like we're getting into the Terminator phase. I'm like, no.
I know.
It's Steph. It's going to be so important in certain fields like this. And we were talking briefly about it before the show. The workforce and the available workforce is going to slim down tremendously. So finding these types of gaps and getting AI to do some of the things that we used to do. We were talking before the show. There were a lot of call centers in this area for a time.
Yep.
I can't remember which one is in the old Hills building. And then, just different places. A lot of people work there. I can remember friends of mine applying and working there, but you don't see that as much anymore.
But I think you have seen a shift in how business works, right? Especially in the contact center space. So we really, from our QA area, have not let people go, but I've taken 4 of them. Now they're kind of prompt engineers. We've taught and learned them how to prompt well for the clients that are coming in for their QA. So there's a shift, right? So they're not doing the job of actually scoring, but they're doing the job of training AI. So I think we will see a huge shift in not just maybe some of these opportunities kind of go away, but the opportunities that are going to come, if we can really think and do it properly, it could be really cool.
Oh, I just want to jump in here real quick, Steph. I'm curious about some of the trials and tribulations of training the AI. What have you seen that's kind of interesting or maybe funny or something that it didn't understand at first?
I think the thing that would blow probably most people's mind is I think that ChatGPT 4 is not a great model for us for analyzing. At the end of the day, what we're doing is we're asking questions of data, right? For us, for our use case, our data is a call transcript, and we're asking questions of that, right? We have found that Anthropic and Claude 3 Sonnet and Claude 3 Opus have been the much better model. Yesterday, Claude 3.5 Sonnet came out, which you should have seen our organization. Like, it was like Christmas. Not really knowing that this thing was coming out, and that it just came, and we instantly had access to it and saw, it's half the cost of the other models, but it's almost, I don't want to say double, but a large percentage higher in processing power and kind of what we've been able to do with it. So I think that's been a huge piece of it. But understanding things like, again, just to give another quick example, we asked questions of data, but then we found out we had to do certain things. So like we'll say, hey, did the agent read the greeting properly? And we'll have the AI score it. But then we'll say, okay, now wait, and ask that question again. So we reiterate it. So the AI will ask that question again. If it gets the same answer, we're good. If it doesn't, right, then we say, hey, the third time, go back into the transcript and try to find, what is the closest answer. So doing certain things to try to make consistency along that kind of AI path as we're kind of prompting and learning as well.
So is there a kind of higher marks on reading it exactly as written, or does it measure things even up to inflection and how the person's saying it?
Yeah, so I think that's the big shift, right? We went from analytics, which was a lot of keywords and keyword searches, and now we're moving to intents and outcomes. That's kind of what I say. So we're looking for agent intent. What are they trying to do on the call? And what is the outcome that is happening? Did the customer experience get better because of what that agent said? Not that they just said, before empathy, we would say, if we scored empathy, it would be, I'm really sorry to hear that, Mr. Smith, right? We would just have like those key words. But now we're actually, finding out, hey, look through the transcript. Is there any issues that the customer had? If so, did the agent respond to it with something that either raised the sentiment of the customer, made them laugh, made them feel better? Is there any indication that actually was an empathetic statement? So we can go deeper into kind of the agent experience and try to make things a lot better, because everybody knows when you go on the phone and you're talking to that customer service agent, a lot of times that experience is not great. So hopefully with tools like this, we can make it a lot better.
I find this whole AI thing is like amazing and scary all at the same time, because it's like even I've been experimenting. I'm just starting to get into the realm of AI, even with marketing and looking at programs like Canva, and I'm like,
Yep.
Hey, I started to use AI with this, and it's all in how you phrase it, and how, like, they'll say, what would you like us to do with this? And then you have to put in certain words, like you were saying, and then it'll spit out something, but then it still takes, like you said, the human aspect of it to, go through and edit it and go, no, that doesn't look right, and stuff like that. So
and I think that's kind of, again, not to tie this back to ETI, but there's so many avenues now, right, that are coming up that are going to need support, that are going to need, I don't want to say entrepreneurs like me, but there's a lot of us in the Erie community that I think are seeing the next step of technology, are starting to play with it, are starting to become experts in it, in at least their little niche. And I think these are some of the things that board members to ETI can hopefully bring as well to some of the newer businesses that are coming into it.
And we've seen a lot of businesses, entering into this space in different ways, solving some of the problems that we have. Joel and I talk about Aaron Kerner over at Inventive AI for events, and my goodness, that I think is a brilliant idea. Putting an event together has a lot to do. If you've ever been with somebody that's planning a wedding or any of that stuff, it's making things easier.
Absolutely.
And who else? Carl Cadet, he has a solution for the hiring of people. He kind of does the applicant tracking system, but gets the right kind of person for someone's job. And those problems are prevalent in everything that we do. Are you hiring the right person? You see their resume. Yes, they put everything that's great on there. And I think sometimes when we interview people, we miss something, and the AI can kind of pick up on that and make things easier for us.
And I think the margins, to be honest, like we don't have a ton of overhead, and to use these language models is not that expensive. Now, you talk to larger organizations, it can be because they have such overhead. So these can turn into such higher paying jobs than the $10, $15, $20, $18 job that kind of maybe the contact center space has. Right, but moving into these kind of more critical thinking, right? It's less about that's what we're looking for, right? To hire from a prompting standpoint. I don't care if you have an IT background, if you have a history. I mean, our history and English majors, right? It could
Right.
be unbelievably well with this. And I think you're starting to see that as we evolve.
Yeah, one of my staff members, Kara, introduced us to Grammarly, and I've gone through all the schooling I can go through. I master's degree, doctorate, and just having that ability to write. My sentences aren't good at all.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, Grammarly wrote this a lot better than I did.
100%, right?
I know. I find I've been using that a lot too. Like I'm doing a Facebook post or something like that, and then Grammarly comes along like, "Hey, you could phrase it this way." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that does sound a little bit better." I'm like, "Yeah."
And I got through my free trial, and now it's like it's paywalling some of the, like, oh man, I wish I could see that. Maybe we'll buy it, Steph.
Okay. I know it has helped out a lot. So. All right. So, going on to our next question. We've probably already talked a little bit about
a little
this,
bit.
yeah. About what's our and how it's different in the AI. So we'll go to the last one. For a business interested in your services, how could they go about finding you?
Yeah, so we're on the web at expeviausa.com. That's kind of the contact center, customer service outsourcing arm. And then for any of the, if we built Auto QA, and it's OTTOQA, right? That's our fun play on words. We build Auto QA for any type of call center, right? So anything from a 5-seat to a 15-seat credit union to a larger organization with 1,000+ seats. So if there's anybody, even in the Erie community, that does have any type of call center that is looking for some QA, we have it's Auto QA, OTTOQA.com as well. Check us out. There's videos, there's demos. So there's no paywall. So love to talk to somebody. We've never had an Erie client, like in our 15 years,
Wow.
which is really surprised. We've come close. So it would be crazy. It would be great to use this show as maybe the catalyst to try to get an Erie connection.
Yeah, my fiance works at a local credit union, and they talk about there's the call center piece of that, and that can be a frustrating experience. So maybe there is somebody out there in Erie that could use you.
It'd be great. It would be great.
Exactly. Okay. Is there anything else? I know. We're
Sometimes what happens, Steph, is that we have guests that answer the questions within one of the questions, and then we have questions that are set to go, but then we kind of build off of that. So, okay, you mentioned the new startup. What other big things do you have up and coming? you hear all the time, like we never get satisfied with where we are or what we're doing. Maybe there's another way to look at something. Is there anything up and coming that you have going?
Well, I think the AI space has allowed you to be as creative as you possibly want, and I think that's a huge piece of kind of where we're thinking. Like there's certain things that we are able to do that we're testing in our kind of core Expedia contact center for our AI tool as well. One of them that I think is really, really interesting, and I don't want to say could be revolutionary, but I don't think anybody really is doing it, is, we have customers or agents who let's say they bomb a call. Like, Matt, I'm talking to you, and I just, I don't show empathy, or I forget to do a cross sell and upsell. I just screw something up. So when that call gets scored, it's scored very low. What we've been able to find is we can take that transcript, we can take the agent piece out of it. So anything the agent said that they bombed, we just kind of take it out of the transcript, and it's just the customer. So it's the same customer name, it's the same sentiment that they had. Were they mad? Were they happy? All the problems that they had, we can send that out to the large language models, use an AI voice, and then have that agent be able to click a button. We call it our redo technology, and literally redo the call that they just bombed with the same age or with the same customer, but it's kind of the AI avatar of that customer. So the AI does a really good job of playing the role of that same customer, and we feed it all the data from that transcript. And that's been a huge coaching. Normally we would just role play calls, right? Like, hey, let's role play that. Let's go through that. And now we can use AI to kind of take the role of that, which I think is something that's been really cool. And we're hopeful to launch that in the next probably 2 to 3 weeks. But the testing of it with our agents at Expedia has been like, whoa, like this is actually kind of freaky. But I think, this is a lot of these businesses too, and a lot of these business types, you have to start to get some of the employees used to this new technology, and not to be afraid of it, and to say, hey, it's here to help. It's not here to hurt. It's not here to take things away. And I think there's a lot in the contact center space that you can do at the agent level to kind of get that rolling.
And I think the interesting part about that is the edge that you're walking, where, okay, a call can get bombed, and a lot of times that's probably because of the human emotion that's involved. If you get somebody that calls in that's angry, it is hard to sit there and go, okay, sir, yes, sir. That person is feeling attacked. And the AI has the opportunity to kind of remove that emotional component and fix what's being said there. So, that's interesting.
And I literally could talk about this for hours. But even getting things like auto summarization, right? So before, at the end of a call, you'd have to put a memo in, like, Mrs. Smith called about this and we fixed this, right? But to have the AI then after the call, take that transcript, auto summarize it, throw it into your CRM, throw it into your Salesforce, whatever that is, to take away those, those last 45 seconds of agent work. These are really mature technologies in the AI space. I'm still not the first touch point chatbot guy, full LLM. I think it can be a little, still a little crazy. But there's a lot of these tools at the agent level from an AI standpoint that would really surprise you what a lot of big contact centers are starting to use.
Well, thank you, Tom. I appreciate you coming on, talking about Expedia and a couple other things that you've been working on. Are you going to hang around for our second guest?
Yeah, I will definitely hang around.
Great. You are listening to Community Chronicles Radio on 103.3 FM, 105.9 FM, and 1530 AM. And as always, through the Corey Higher Education Council. Coming up after the news break, we have John Buchert. They are using technology on a system called A Way Together, and they're going to talk a little bit about that. We did have John and Melanie from that company on, but we just have John today. I have to run out to my car. We'll see how fast I can go. Come back after the news break. We'll be back with John Buchert. Welcome back to Community Chronicles Radio, brought to you weekly by Gannon University's Erie Technology Incubator, in partnership with the Corey Higher Education Council. The Erie Technology Incubator, located at 900 State Street, works in the entrepreneurial ecosystem and provides technical assistance through the entrepreneurial process. This show features members of this ecosystem and other entrepreneurs in the Erie area. I want to thank our first guest, Tom Laird. Thank you, Tom, for coming on. I would now like to welcome our next guest, John Buchert. In the words of Brad Gleason, who helped arrange this interview, with travel season upon us, raising awareness around this Erie company with a solution around destination and resort events could never be more important as families travel across the globe. Welcome to the show, John Buchert.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. How is everyone? I can't talk. It's still early. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. We're good. We're good. How are you doing, John?
Doing very well. I do want to say a special thank you to Tom. I think it's commendable, not only the level of success that he's brought to the community, but also his willingness to give back to the entrepreneur world, so to speak, with his involvement with ETI. So thank you, Tom.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I always love when we get to talk about vacation, though, too. So with the so we'll start off by, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, absolutely. So my wife Melanie and I started away together. My background is in law enforcement. I retired 2 years ago to focus full time on the company. Mel she still has a quote unquote day job. So we're exactly 1.5 employees with, we also have a director of sales in the Caribbean based out of Barbados. So we're a small company, but we're a young company. And essentially our story in 2018, Mel and I were on a trip. 5 out of the 7 days were magnificent. The last 2 days was a tropical storm, like rain I've never seen before. So kind of sort of on the same essence of what Tom was talking about as far as whiteboarding on a napkin, we had a conversation. It's like, this is crazy. We've met all these amazing people, but there's literally no way for us to communicate to see if anybody wants to meet in the lobby and play cards while it's raining. Excuse me. So that's what kind of got us going. And then from there, we did some research and found out, what we were looking to do really doesn't exist, in the world itself. So from there, we decided that we could teach ourselves how to code. And Tom can probably appreciate, with his tech background, that was a bad idea. I literally own the book, App Development for Dummies, and it's aptly titled, and now I use it more or less as a prop, but it's true. So that didn't go well. Then we had some speed bumps along the way as far as what tech company was going to handle, the beta version and the MVP and whatnot. And then from there, we did a lot of customer discovery, mainly through COVID. Because obviously a lot of these folks were, the hoteliers and the hotels and whatnot were shut down during that time. So the ability of access was, it was kind of unique timing for us, because a lot of these folks, like I said, they were shut down. So we could pick their brain and kind of see what the needs were, as far as a communication standpoint within the hotel industry primarily. So from there, we went in 2022, we launched our first commercial version, and currently we are on version 6. So moving along. You always like to see things move a little bit faster and whatnot, but we're not dissatisfied with kind of our place in the world and how things sit.
Yeah, as Brad mentioned in his introduction, the travel season is upon us. Can you tell us about the Away Together and how that works?
Sure. Yeah. So essentially, what you do is you download the application, and then once you get to a subscribing hotel, you just scan a QR code, and it's a white labeled application that very much appears that it is their app, right? All the artwork, all the information, everything is designed specifically for that location. And it has, dining menus, dining schedules, amenities, activities, but kind of the what makes us different from everybody else that does that is we also allow for safe and secure guest to guest communication. So once you scan that QR code, it brings up the white labeled app, specific for that location. Only people that are in that location can communicate with one another. So what it allows for, as far as the host is concerned, if something changes, a product is unavailable for dinner, so the menu has to change, or something has to be moved, or whatever the case may be, they can send out one push notification, to everyone on the platform, as opposed to relying on whiteboards in the lobby, or notes under the doors, or the kind of antiquated ways that the hotels communicate with their guests. But it also allows for the guest to guest component. So Matt, if you and I and Tom meet at a swim up bar, it's perfectly normal to say, hey, I like to golf, you guys like to golf, let's go golfing on Friday. Where it gets weird is then we have to exchange some form of personal information, whether it be a phone number, email, social media, whatever the case may be. With our product, you don't have to do that. It eliminates the need for that. And it also, for the folks that do use social media for communication while they're traveling, 5 years from now, you're not going to get a message from me thanking you for wishing me a happy birthday when you have no idea who I am at that point. So it really kind of streamlines the communication aspect of travel, along with providing, the every other aspect, and the third component that we promote very heavily is the greater destination. So we operate primarily in the Caribbean. The Caribbean as a region, I think from a very American perspective, gets lumped into as far as like one culture, and it's very, very untrue. Each individual place, each individual island, has their own culture, what makes them special, as far as why people go there and continue to go there. So we like to highlight the local experience. Anybody can go scuba diving in Barbados, but not everybody knows that you can go scuba diving and help repair the coral reefs. So it's kind of that off the beaten path experiences that we try to promote. We also do the more mainstream excursion promotions and whatnot, but we really try to emphasize the local experiences and what that means.
So I was just.
Go
ahead, Matt.
Yeah, this is fascinating. My fiance and I, we travel quite a bit, and one of the cool parts about travel a lot of times are the people that you meet while you're out. So this kind of focuses on the hotels and where you're staying. Have you thought anything about, like we go to the hotel, but that's not where you spend the majority of your time. You're out somewhere. We've met fascinating people at different breweries and different experiences along the way. Have you thought about getting into that space, or does this only work in the hotels?
Well, it works within, so everything is kind of geofenced and specific to a location for the security aspect of it. So if you go to, again, most of our clients are in Barbados, so I use them as our example most of the time. But if you go to Barbados, if you join one of the social media groups that visit Barbados, or whatever the case may be, on whether it be Facebook or Instagram or social media in general, you never really know who you're talking to. So we place security and safety at a very high level. So we're we're apprehensive to open it up outside of kind of that group, so to speak. But I can understand what you're saying for sure.
Now, I was just curious. You were saying this mainly is used or in like the Caribbean area, so it's not like you can use this app like you're going to Disney or something. This is like a different kind of thing.
Well,
um,
yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, because I was just curious. So it's in certain areas where you can use this. Like, what places are using your app right now? I guess is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, it's a subscription model for the hotels, so the end user doesn't pay for our services.
Okay.
Currently, we are in Barbados, St. Lucia, Aruba, Jamaica, and Mexico.
Okay.
And then domestically, we're in talks with primarily we've been focused on RV parks and campgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have a very kind of down the road project that we're working on into the emerging tourism market in Saudi Arabia. We actually had an intern, and this is an interesting story as far as ETI is concerned. We had an intern through Gannon, through the ETI, who was from Saudi Arabia. So he has since graduated, moved back to Riyadh. But he reached out to us and said, "Hey, the Saudi government is pumping like 6 trillion with a T dollars into the tourist market here in Saudi. They want to compete with Dubai. So, this might be a good time for you guys to get in." So we did a little bit of research. It's like, this is a no-brainer. I mean, it's a great opportunity. It's a beautiful place. There is a lot of red tape as far as, establishing an entity there and making sure that everything complies with, regulations on as far as both governments are concerned. But that's our next step. That's a few months away, but we're looking forward to that.
I'm sure there's been a lot of trial and error with this, and like you were saying with the security and how to when you were starting out, you were said you got a book for dummies or something. It took you. I had to do that with HTML. I had it when I was doing Coda, and like I said with apps, I creating that. But what you probably already talked a little bit about this, but what made you want to create this app? Was it just wanting to connect mainly with the guests like you were talking about, or other
Yeah, it was
people and do?
Yeah, it was basically just filling a void, honestly. Once we realized that there's probably 2 apps in the world that are close to what we do, and they're both part of major cruise lines. And really, we looked at it from a couple different perspectives. Number one, it's time for hotels to kind of catch up with the cruise lines as far as how they communicate with their guests and within the guest community. But also, we target our main demographic or market, if you will, is small to medium sized hotels. And a lot of these folks, especially post COVID, they don't have the resources to put out a digital product to fulfill the need as far as connectivity is concerned. It's a very real thing that you have an entire population of people coming into the market as far as travel is concerned, and kind of across the board, that have never walked Earth without some sort of connectivity. And to be able to fill that need for these folks that can't afford to necessarily provide that for themselves, that became important to us.
Exactly. And how can a hotel manager sign up to use your app if they wanted to?
They can visit our website. It's www.myawaytogether.com. They can, find us on social media at Away Together, pretty much across the board as far as social media is concerned. For better or for worse, my cell phone is listed as the phone number on the website, so they're welcome to reach out. I don't know if I should have mentioned that or not, but we're like I said, we're a small company, and we're very much about relationships and building those relationships. So we don't turn down meetings is basically our policy. So
You got to get
What are
the Google
yeah.
Voice. Google Voice so that they don't have your number.
it do we have time? I have an anecdote. If we have
yeah,
a couple
yeah,
minutes.
Oh yeah, we have time.
In the essence of relationship building, and I won't name any names, but there I get to meet a lot of interesting people. And there was one gentleman who was making furniture out of rum barrels, obviously in the Caribbean.
Mhm.
And it came to light that he was also selling the rum out of more or less his garage. But he had a friend who worked at the distillery who was, in fact, I won't say stealing, I'm just going to say relocating barrels of rum that they would, sell out of this gentleman's garage, and then he would make furniture out of it. And it was just like, if there's ever a movie to be made about, just the will of the entrepreneur, so to speak, not necessarily condoning what the relocation of said rum barrels, but it was just it just made me chuckle.
Moonlight Requisition, it's called.
The true rum runner.
Yeah.
Do you have any other interesting stories? We have time.
I've got lots of stories. We have one gentleman. He does primarily media, so he knows literally everyone in Barbados specifically. So some of his he'll call us kind of out of the blue to introduce us, to various folks. And I've met everyone from the CEO of the Barbados Stock Exchange to a gentleman who breeds birds that are specific for security purposes. Like they make a lot guinea birds, I believe is the term that they use. But you meet some very interesting characters along the way, and he's really introduced us to some amazing people. But that's the fun part, as far as what we've been doing, is that very aspect is the relationships. Like we've made a lot of really good friends, kind of all over the place from different cultures. We're always learning. We place a high priority on learning about the culture of the area that we're operating in, not only from a personal standpoint but a business standpoint as well. And just to touch on another plug for ETI and the Beehive, we've utilized the Beehive a lot, as far as doing research primarily. Hey, we're looking at going into this market, what should we know, from that standpoint, and then we can grow from there. But the whole ETI experience has been amazing. Like I said, my background is not in business. I can write a police report that's worthy of reading in court, but I needed a lot of help with writing a business plan or writing investment summaries or anything along that path. So the ETI community, Brad and Kathy specifically, but the whole SBDC staff, everybody's been amazing, and we lean on them heavily. Although Kathy would probably yell at me that I'm not at our office at the ETI building enough. But even just the simple, like the events that they host, that we can kind of sit around, get to know one another, and a lot of the problems that entrepreneurs are having are fairly common. You just don't know it until you hear it. Like, yeah, I'm dealing with the same thing. And to be able to talk through that and in some cases just to commiserate is an amazing resource. So, I can't thank, Brad and Kathy and the board, Tom, for all the work that you guys do and the opportunities that you've given us. So, it's a great organization. And I recommend, if you have an idea, do it and lean on the resources that are available.
Yeah, and there's a lot there. Go ahead.
One thing, excuse me, I appreciate that. The other thing that I think needs to be talked about a little bit as well is, when you talked about, we're not at our office enough, right? There's a lot of resources as well that you don't have to have physical space in the incubator? Yes. Would we love all the companies that kind of come through to then come in and actually have a physical space? Of course. But, there are, maybe a Gannon student who started a business in Erie and it's a couple years old. So then I know one has moved to Buffalo, right? But they're still getting services for a crazy nominal fee. But to still be a part of the community, to still get any of the help to continue their business on too, I think is something that, again, we need to tell that story a little bit more as well. So it's really just for the entire Erie area community. If you have any type of idea for a business at any stage, the ETI and the SBDC, we want to talk to you. We want to try to help it. We want to try to foster that as much as we possibly can, whether you're going to stay in Erie or even move maybe outside the area.
And just to kind of highlight the brilliance of the people working there, I have this small idea that I kind of put together. I bounced it off of Brad at one point, and he built that idea into such a much better model, like almost instantly, and said, "Yeah, we got to get you in." So, I mean, his mind works in a way that most people don't, and he made a better product almost immediately. And at some point, and this is one of the things about entrepreneurs. I heard it the other day when Jordan and Brian were filling in for Maverick Mindset, getting off. And starting that business it's a difficult thing. It's a challenge, and it's there. But they help you in the technology incubator kind of move past that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got ideas, right? But ideas only get you so far. So if you do have that idea, if it's on that piece of paper, I know that there's a lot of resources here that would love to help you.
Yeah, for sure. And we've benefited enormously from that. I mean, the physical facility is a bonus to us because truthfully we work from home the majority of the time, but just to have the availability for the facility itself, but more so it's walking through the halls and just talking to people. Hey, and like I said, not to belabor the point, but sometimes it's venting, and sometimes it's hey, I need help with this, do you have any ideas? And quite truthfully, it's just sometimes it just needs a different set of eyes, and and I appreciate all the resources that have been available to us.
Yeah, and the Beehive process. The kids that are working, I shouldn't say kids, they're students, they're adult students. They help you in so many different ways, and the product that they produce in every portion of the Beehive, Mercyhurst, Gannon, Allegheny. Penn State Barron, they are doing such great work. You would be amazed what our local talent's capable of, and to help get your product off the ground.
Well, and we operate, or we subscribe to a couple other services as far as entrepreneur type think tank organizations, and you wouldn't believe how many times it's come up and say, hey, we don't have a lot of money, but we want to put together a focus group, or how do we do that? And it's amazing to me that people don't think about go contact your local college or university, because a lot of times, the professors are striving to provide activities for the students, in a meaningful manner. And a lot of times they're more than happy to put something together for folks that would normally cost resources. As far as a small business is concerned, when resources are tight, it's a great resource.
Absolutely. We're working on something now with local manufacturers that they're struggling to find qualified engineers, and they have a product that they need engineered. So we were thinking about the idea of, okay, if you need to get this engineered, could we use college students maybe in their fourth year of engineering school to come and do that project for you? It works in a couple of ways. It builds an affinity for that company with the student as they are part of that solution. And you're taking advantage of the brain power that we have right here in Erie.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we're coming up at the end of the show. I want to thank both John and my brain's shut off. Tom, John and Tom. I had this moment of like, okay, where was I going with this? I'm sorry, Tom. I know who you are.
All good.
Yeah, doing these shows sometimes you're on time and you're like, okay, when am I going to close this up? And we're doing a few other things as we go along. But I want to thank you both for coming on the show. It's been great learning about what you're doing and just the Erie Technology Incubator as a whole and the opportunities that are there. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So, Steph, we have a couple minutes, and we're running out of classes down at the Corey High Ed. So can you talk about a couple of things? Not running out completely. It's just the summertime.
No. No, we've got the G-Pipe that's coming up on July 3rd. That'll be at 5 p.m. That will be from 5 to 6 p.m. That is also free. That'll be heading up to the First Fridays. Get a jump start on the festivities there. Also, we've got using AI to generate a resume and cover letter that's coming up July 11th.
The AI piece.
There you go.
Yeah. And we've also got NWIRC creating a culture of accountability. And we got some PA Career Link coming up August 1st. That is also free. And I'm very curious, though, Matt. You ran out to your car to get something.
Yeah, I got to get to this, and we don't want to skip it. One of the features of this show was Jordan's dad joke of the day. For Father's Day, I got this little dad joke button.
Love it.
And
button.
All of the jokes are very clean, but this one's going to be at random, and I cannot vouch for the effectiveness of this joke. It's just random. I'm going to push the button. Here we go.
I told my daughter to be careful standing next to those trees. They look shady.
And there you have it. That is not the best one. I haven't heard that one yet, but there's other good ones in there. So yeah, we'll regularly put this back in the mix. Hopefully, it doesn't tell the same joke twice. Thank you to both guests. I appreciate your time. We will look forward to next week's show. I don't believe we have a guest scheduled yet. That's on Brad. No. Okay, I'm wrong. Our guest is Chris Norris from Revox Media, so we'll talk to him about what he's been working on for us and what he's been working on in general. We hope to see you next week.
Chris is awesome. You'll enjoy that show.